fuck, boy. I'm like midnight out of this motherfucker, boy.
You might think you can run around here. You got a free will spirit, and Babylon put it in front of your face. But man, that's not it, man. That's a standard that's set there. How we supposed to live? The things that are pleasing to the Most High are made known unto us, right? So you either choose to, what the scripture also say, discipline. You know, wisdom of Solomon 6, if I'm not mistaken. Discipline, man. You gotta have the discipline. Having this knowledge, understanding, not having no discipline, it ain't gonna work. You know, and if you don't build that discipline, guess what? You're gonna continue to fall into that lust. But
So continuing on, I'll start back at the top of verse 11, right? It says, and they that have loathed my law, while they had yet liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it, right? So there was a place of repentance, like I said, that grace period, right? But those who despised it, or those who despised it and understood it not, right? They didn't take advantage of it. They didn't repent. They didn't turn from their ways, right? Come back to the fold, so on and so forth. The scriptures tell you what's going to happen to them, right? Verse 12, the same must know it after death by pain, right? So you have to be punished, right? You're going to go through that judgment, that nuclear destruction, so on and so forth, right? You don't have a choice, right? The Most High, the Most High has to um, he can't spare that rod. He can't you know just allow you to not follow the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability, so on and so forth, right? Because these are ways that we know who the elect are, right? I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was saying, when it comes to the elect, right? The elect are going to be what? Those judges and rulers of the kingdom, right? He's not just going to let just anybody be a judge and ruler. No, he has to be somebody who did the right thing on this side, you know. But
a quick precept in that. What is that? Said, I want to know it's, I think it says second Ezra. Yeah, second Ezra 14:13. It says, now therefore set thy house in order and reprove thy people, comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. When we understand the truth, go back to the upper part of the verse, now therefore set thy house in order. The first house we have is where our spirit dwells, and it's by the ear, right? So we gotta say, if we can't, in the elder thing, I just named it, count his page, Remnant Save 144.
I think it's Elder Yashawama and Dallas.
Yeah, Elder Yashawama.
Yeah, I think that's his. I think that's his.
Khan,
Not here if I'm wrong.
but he did an edifying lesson, going into that, going into the fact of how, Yahweh Shai came and, Yahweh Shai's Adam and Solomon, Adam and Solomon, how he came back to Yahweh Shai and he perfected, he had a perfect walk, right? Because he perfected himself as he went off in the flesh as Adam and Solomon, right? So he fought those inner demons and got it right, Well, in this world to come, Yahweh Shai not going to find you worthy to rule the world to come if you can't rule yourself, if you can't get yourself together, right? Like the brother saying, these men are, and during that suffering, that pain, a person not their own self, person not their own will. That's what Yahweh Shai say, right? Who concern we take up that cross, because Yahweh Shai took up his cross to do what? The will of the Father. I can do nothing of my own self, but the will of the Father. Remember, as his, when he was Adam, when he saw him, he went off. But he came this time through the Spirit. It's all through the Spirit, man, to stay focused. That spirit of discipline, right? To remain focused. So you got to set thy own house in order. You got to get yourself in order, right? Because, like brother saying, those are going to be the ones, and they set that standard here today, that first dominion. They're the ones who setting that standard of how about Shai here right now, right? Of course, we're not made perfect yet, but in the world to come, these are these guys who are being obedient, or obtaining that perfection, and they're being obedient to the suffering. So it's helping them prepare, right? It's getting them right. So the time to come, they overcome it. The spirit probably how about Shai, they overcome it, fighting within themselves, those inner demons. Fighting within themselves, pushing themselves away, because they know the righteousness of Yahweh Shai is within them. The spirit of Yahweh Shai is leading them on that righteous path to stay focused, right? So now they purging out the will of their own self, let that spirit take over within, getting their own house in order, right? So those are the men who are gonna be found worthy to rule in the kingdom. You can't have no like that analogy I use, right? With football, when you in college, they pick leaders. Leaders usually be the ones who in workouts going hard, don't miss workout, don't skip. When it's time for condition, they ain't at the back just jogging, barely making the time. When it's time for lift, they ain't just lifting to get by. They're putting that work. They're suffering. They're going hard. You're gonna pick somebody you know that's gonna go all out for you, right? Same thing was true. Y'all about y'all ain't picking nobody who like gagging pen around, man. Right? They don't got no discipline, right? They bullshitting around. Now he picking those men who front line, who suffering, who going hard, right? That's those are the ones who gonna set that standard in the kingdom, which they're setting that standard here today, right? But,
that and I don't have to read it, but that goes into like that parable with the 10 virgins. You know what I'm saying? The ones that were wise and the ones that were foolish. Right, that oil being wet. You know what I'm saying? This truth. You know what I'm saying? That's you having this wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Shem Shai. Right, that's that oil that's gonna keep your lamp burning, man. But if you don't got enough oil, right? If you like the brother said, you lollygagging around, so on and so forth, right? You're not gonna burn out. Then you're gonna be begging the elders and apostles, you know what I'm saying, for their oil. You're gonna want them to teach you again. You want them to break this down again, so on and so forth. But at that point, it's gonna be too late. You know, they're not gonna Yahweh Shem Shai not gonna allow that, man.
I got a quick precept, Hebrews 5:8, right? It says, though he were a son, right? Somebody Yahweh Shai, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered, and being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all that obey him, right? But he obtained the obedience through suffering, right? He knew he had to suffer. That suffering would build him up to stay focused, right? And after he did that, after he laid down and suffered everything he had to go through, which he knew what he had to go through. Like I said, I come in the volume of the book, right? It is me. And he knew the things was going to happen. He knew he was going to be. That's why what he said in Hebrews 9. You ain't want no bulls, no thing that such. You have to give me a body sacrifice, right? You have to sacrifice himself, and that's the same thing we have to do. And we in that similar process of going through this hardship, narrow passage, things that such. Not necessarily been put on the cross, but in times to come, as you see, Jacob's trouble getting here. Hey, it's gonna be time persecuting. They're gonna be shooting, killing. You know how Esau move, man. So you gotta really prepare yourself through that suffering. That's what you receive. That's how you perceive that perfection in the kingdom. But those ones who obtain that and do that here, those going to be the ones who found worthy to rule in the kingdom to come, right? If you're not ready to give yourself up here, you worry about your life here. Why would you think you'd be worthy to rule in the kingdom to come, man? Hey, you're gonna receive that by suffering. Same thing Yahushua did. The servant's not greater than his Lord, man. Right? The same thing Yahushua faced, that's what we're gonna face as well. Suffering, pain, hardship. Right?
Okay.
But we can get into that we can get into Jeremiah 49. Because the brother brought a beautiful precept earlier, say Ezra 9 and 11, how Jake think he got the liberty to run around and do whatever he want to do. Right? And that's why, Jeremiah 49, like we titled lesson, that's what we're going to go into, those who have drunk on the car are certainly drunken. Because Esau don't put in front of Jake's face all these things, all this iniquity, all these ways of, this free will spirit to do what you want to do. Right? They don't profess to our fathers before us, right? Then your mom, your dad, they raise you up in that way, then you have your children, you raise them up in that way, which is not the ways we have about Yahushua. That's on these last days, precept real fast before we get started. Genesis, I want to see. What is that? It's in Genesis where it says, these last days, return back to the Father. Looking for it, I can't think exactly which chapter is in. But these last days, man, return back to the Father, man. Right? Return back to his ways. Jeremiah 6:16, find the old path and walk therein. That's what we're supposed to do in these last days. But Jake have been drunken from the Babylon. It's like from the fornication of Babylon, which we're not supposed to be following these ways. We sitting here for this is a mercy period, right? Matter of fact, before we read that, I found it. It's Jeremiah 49, Genesis 49:1. It says, and Jacob called it to his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which befall you in the last days. Right? It says, gather yourselves together and hear you, sons, and hearken unto Israel your father, man. So you got to return to Yahweh Shai these last days. Gather yourself, right? So we scattered all over. But before we read that, Jeremiah 49, I want to read this real fast in Baruch. right? This Baruch 4, right? And I started verse 4, right? It says, O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to Yahweh are made known unto us. Be of good cheer, my people, the memorial of Israel. You were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because he moved Yahweh to wrath, you were delivered unto your enemies, right? So you got to understand, we were sitting here because we disrespected Yahweh. We wouldn't get to where we wouldn't get to his truth. So as we mentioned earlier, this is a mercy period. This is a grace period for us to correct our wrongs of what we did, for us to get ourselves together, to gather ourselves, for us to purge out. How about y'all giving us a chance? You know, that grace that came unto us. Remember, Romans chapter 5, it tell you when Adam went off, death reigned over all. But now the great gift of how sending how shot down to bring that grace upon it. Now we got a chance to overcome and live for eternity, right? If we repent, right, from our old ways, because everything you doing now, the things you falling in, guess what? You doing those same things back then. You know, it ain't nothing new under the sun, right? You still giving in to the other nations, right? But it's a mercy period, right? That's why he allowed America to be who they are. He allowed America to be that golden cup. He allowed America to be that top country, right? Top government, how you want to put it, so he can show the world iniquity, show the world wickedness. And he's going to show you the judgment behind it as well, but also to what? And why he made the path of this world narrow, to see who would remain focused. And Jake and Israel, it was not supposed to drink of that cup. It was not supposed to give into those ways. We probably got a precept.
Yeah, this is Proverbs 1:24, right? It says, "Because I have called and you refused, I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. But ye have set at naught all my counsel, and would none of my reproof." Right? Because again, that's what Israel was doing, man. That's what Israel, like the brother said, that's what Israel has, continues to do to this day, right? They don't, there's no excuse for anybody at this point in time to say that they don't know who the Israelites are, so on and so forth, right? There's been
Matthew 15, 22. If I have not Cain, but now I Cain, there's no cloak for their sin. Cloak going into excuses.
Like you said, there's no cloak for this sin. You know what I'm saying? It's impossible to say, I didn't know, right? Everybody at this point in time, the way that Yahweh Shai got it set up, he used, Esau's technology, the internet, so on and so forth, to spread the truth, right? Because nobody can do anything against the truth before the truth, right? But continuing on, verse 25 or verse 26, it says, "I will also laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as a desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me, for that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord," man. So again, when you go the other way, right? Because like I said, the Lord stretched out his hand, right? When you come across the word, when you come across, the truth, right? That's the Lord stretching his hand out and giving you an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So again, like referring back to 2nd Ezra 9, when you want to abuse the ways of the Lord like that, when you want to abuse that mercy and grace that he gives you, punishment, destruction has to come with that, man.
All right, this is a quick precept to back you up. Romans 10:21. He says, "But to Israel he said, all day long have stretched forth my hands into a disobedient and gangsaying people." Gangsaying is meaning rejected, disobedient. They rejecting Yahweh Shai. He stretched not his hand, right? Because when the scriptures tell you, the Lord's not slack concerning his promise. He wants Jake to repent, but Jake just won't. Because why? Jake is what's that real fast? This Isaiah 29, right? Verse 9, it says, "Stay yourselves and wonder, cry ye out. Cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink." What? Nah, we ain't talking about you drunk out. Nah, you drunk out when they go that wine. We understand that wine is the philosophies, the ways, the lifestyle, the American dream, man. Jake is drunken off that, which they're not supposed to be. They're not supposed to drink of that cup, right? Yahweh Shai gave the laws and commandments for our people not to mingle and be caught up with these ways to the other nations. That's why he gave us to separate us. The law is holy. Holy means separate. Deuteronomy 7:6, we are a holy people. What makes us separate? The laws and commandments that Yahweh Shah gave us. Once again, Baruch 4:4. The things that are pleasing to Yahweh Shah made known to us. But Jake chose to go out and mingle themselves, you know, and I want to say that's Ezra chapter 4, if I'm not mistaken, verse 9, which goes into that, right? Ezra 9, chapter 9 goes to that, Lord willing. Let me just go to it fast. I'm gonna read this to make sure I quote the right chapter. But it talks about how they mingle themselves, not the fact of not the fact of just like they was around the other nation, because the Most High told them to destroy these people when they went to the nation, but they didn't, right? But when they didn't, guess what they started doing? They started mingling themselves, meaning they started doing the abominations. They started copying the lifestyle. They started doing the thing, the marriage customs, all these things that the other nations was doing, which Yahweh Shah told them not to do, right? That's why Deuteronomy 7:1 said, you know, you should not let them let their daughter let that son take their daughter, let your daughter take their son, because why? Those customs, those ways, are gonna end up turning the children away from Yahweh Shah, right? Don't follow these people, don't do these things to people. But Jake did that anyway. Jake got drunken. They staggered out from a strong drink. You know, they drunken out from wine, man. They drinking from these philosophies and ways of nations. Really here, Babylon, man. Esau, right? Peace up.
Well, I mean, I could really just quote it, but it's kind of past the point. But it was just to prove how you said, you know what I'm saying? These are the law, statute, commandments are the ways that he, you know, separated us from everybody else. So to defer from them, or to go away from those laws, statutes, and commandments, right, is to, again, to go into the world, right? To be a Babylonian, to be a Gentile. You know what I'm saying? To go away from what he gave us. But again, that's all tying back into that Jeremiah 49 that we're gonna read. You know, because that's all you're doing when you want to ignore the law, statutes, and commandments that Yahweh Shah gave to us. Then you're drinking of that, you know, of that wine of destruction, right? You're drinking of the indignation that has to come to Babylon.
I'll read this real fast so we can get at Jeremiah 49. This is Ezra 9, the chapter I was quoting. And I'll go ahead and read it. It says, "Now, when these things were done, the princes came to me, saying, the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the lands, doing according to their abomination, even of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites. For they have taken of their daughter for themselves and for their sons." You know, Israel was taking these, you know, they was taking these women from other nations who had kids with men from other nations. Those are bastards. You know, if your father's not an Israelite, you're not an Israelite. If your father is Israelite, you are an Israelite, man. The pedigree, you know, comes from your father. Whatever your father are is what you are. Jake was taking these women from these other nations that already had kids with people from these other nations, right? Doing the marriage custom of these other nations, right? Doing all these things, right? As the scripture says, it says, and their sons, so that the holy seed, holy meaning separate, right? Because we're separate from these other nations, right? So the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands. Yeah, the hand of the princes and rulers have been chief in this trespass. When you work up to verse 1, when it talks about it, says they have not separated themselves from the people of those lands, doing according to their abominations. Most High wasn't mad at us that we was around these people, but it's the fact that we got caught up and started doing the abominations of the other nations. Remember, these people was doing all these abominations in the land, which Yahweh Shah told us not to do, right? Another quick piece of real fast, like it's caught in mind. Let me see. You remember in the group chat, we was talking about this necromancer, right? When basically, like, you know, they basically like playing with the dead, that voodoo and all the things. These people was doing all these type of things in the land. So when Yahweh Shah bring us to the land, he telling us not to fall into these ways. Let me see. All right, this is Deuteronomy 18, and I started verse 9. It says, "When thou art coming to the land which the Lord Yahweh thy power giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abomination of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or the use of divination. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's
divination.
divination. One of these is like basically like let me search it. I forgot. I know the other one's like basically like going to witchcraft. How to the Mexicans they be going to those ladies so they can tell their future. Whatnot. What they call them? I forgot they call them ladies, but they go to the. It made me think of a show called
Like
Queen of the
psychics and stuff.
Yeah, it's a show called Queen of the South, and the guy is he like basically like he protector of the woman, and he going to basically like going to the card reader lady so he can see what evil trying to come at her. So he goes to the lady, she pull a card, things that's what Yahabashim outside told us not to get into. So I go to the let me see the definition of it, right? But yeah, there's like basically fortune telling, like I was saying. Yeah, fortune telling, the practice of seeking knowledge of the future of the unknown by supernatural means, right? It says or observer of times, right? Or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consultant with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. Right? That's people who plan with the dead things. That's those voodoo, those things that those if I'm not mistaken, the Haitians do that a lot. They be playing with it a lot. Even now with that EFI stuff, man. Right? That EFI stuff, man. They do that stuff right. That's iniquity. That's that's demonic, man. Y'all about to see told us not to follow those ways, right? It says, for all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord Yahweh. And because these abominations, the Lord Yahweh, by power, doeth drive them out from before thee. Right? So he gave us laws, commandments, Leviticus 20. So we wouldn't do these things. But as we're gonna read, right, you gotta read that.
Kind of talking about Isaiah 49.
Oh, yeah, Jeremiah 49.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This is Jeremiah 49, and honestly, I'm gonna start it up a little bit. Unless you just want me to get straight to the point.
Now you can start a bit. I want to say about verse 9. You go to I was going into teaming. Yeah.
That's verse 7. I'll start verse 7.
Yeah, you start at verse 7.
So this Jeremiah 49:7. It says concerning Edom, which is Esau, Edom, so-called white man, right? It says, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts: Is wisdom no more in Teman? His counsel."
Oh, a quick point. Teman is those Germans, because Germans are the smartest of the Edomites, right? Germans are the smartest ones, and all these things, the knowledge of all that stuff gonna be taken from them, right? How smart they are, things that say. If you think about it, when they was creating the atomic bomb, the Germans had it created, but they didn't want Hitler to get it, so they fled over here to the Americans. Those Germans, they're smartest of the Edomites. You see,
Kind of says, "His counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan or Dedan."
Dedan is it was a city in Edom, right? So it's talking about the Edomites, right? You can continue reading on.
It says, "For I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him."
So we knowing that Yahweh is going to bring the destruction upon Esau, Edom, right? It's going to be hardship. It's going to be pain. They're going to be wiped off the face of the earth, man. Scripture say they're not going to be renowned, man. Right? The other nations after those 1,000 years, they're going to go back to their lands. They're going to be able. We're going to make them understand who they bring them back into their knowledge, understand who they are, right? Esau, Edom, they're not going to be renowned. They're going to be done away with. They're going to be done. The Most High is going to get rid of the wicked. I was watching the elder earlier. He was talking about that, how the Most High brought the flood, the white Cain them off the wickedness, and when Cain came to earth, wickedness came, right? Esau, Edom, that same wicked spirit that was on Cain is on Esau, Edom, right? The Most High is going to get rid of the common denominator that bring out his wickedness. He's going to get rid of them. What did they not say in Maccabees, right? When the Edomites came into power through the Greeks, that as soon as they came into power, wickedness increased in earth. The Most High is going to wipe them away, man. It's going to be a kingdom of righteousness, man. They're going to be up out of here.
Verse 9, it says, "If grape gatherers come to thee, would they not leave some gleaning grapes? If these by night they will destroy till they have enough."
So you understand, like when they gleaning, basically, like if it's 100, they'll take a portion and leave a portion, right? But when Yahweh shall come destroy them, Malachi 4:1, they're not leaving their root nor branch. There's gonna be nothing left beside them. That land's gonna be destroyed, right? And they're gonna be destroyed, right?
Verse 10, it says, "But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not.
So Esau has been made bare, and his land has been his land. It's like I have covered his secret places. What is secret place? America. This is their. This is the. This is the. Edom. This is the capital. Edom. I can think. Borsra. This is their capital. This is their land, man. There's rise of the empire. America's in that top seat of it. They've been exposed for everything, right? Their lies, their gifts of who they really are. All that's been exposed, been brought. It's like this land, America, this wicked place, right? Which is Babylon, especially Sodom and Egypt. Sodom because why? Right? The iniquity, the things that are going on here. And even when you think about it even further, the Most High, when He caused the atoms to come together to rain fire and brimstone on Sodom and Gomorrah, that's what's going to happen to America. The nuclear destruction. The bonus place is going to go down, right? And go down by fire, right? Egypt. Why? Because Egypt, we're in captivity, right? Were we not in captivity, Egypt? Exodus 22, the house of bondage. Are we not in captivity still here? This place is going to be destroyed. Everything around this place has been exposed, man. The people got a blind eye to it. They look past it because America gives them, allow them to get the money, allow them to get, riches, things that so America allowed them to have the liberty to run around and do what they want to do, right? So Jake looked past it, and all the other nations look past it, but they've been exposed, and now those horns are showing. Right now, those horns are showing the how Trump and the government and whatnot, how you want to put it, those policy, those ways, that draconian laws is coming out. With ice, they showing it through ice, man. Shalom, brother. I see you.
Shalom. But continuing on, verse 11, it says, "Leave thy fatherless children; I will preserve them alive, and let thy widows trust in me."
And this is the point we get into the title of the whole lesson right here in verse 12.
Right. Verse 12, it says, "For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken."
So we're going to hold it right down. I'm going to go to Revelation, right? Revelations 18, right? And I'll read verse 3. Start at verse 3. It says, "For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication." That her is talking about Babylon. "And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the mercy of her earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies." Right? So when you understand it, these places getting people rich is letting them look at this, for instance, LeBron James, Deion Sanders. You think these people worry about if you go to these people with the truth, you think them people want to hear this truth? Why? Because these people are having a good life in America, right? They're having a good life. They got the riches, right? Everywhere they go, they being praised and things like that. These people love these type of things, right? And that's the mindset that got, and that's the fornication. That's the wine that got Jake drunk, right? Because ultimately, we weren't sitting here for that shit, man. We were sitting here to suffer. But ultimately, understand that the elect are be the ones who suffer, right? But Jake so caught up in his way, they feel like their life, I gotta understand, we under the curses, man. And when you get those things, those riches things, guess what Jake has to do? Jake confound to lifestyle, to the way of Esau, That's why every time you see the, guess what he doing? Posting about JC, posting about this and that, That's why them people, they always talking about voting. They can't speak the truth. They got to speak exactly what Esau, to tell them. They're being controlled just because they want to get the money, man. That's what America do, right? Another quick precept real fast. Revelation 17:2. It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunken with the wine of her fornication. So Jake is drunken off that fornication. Jake is drunken off that fornication, which we read a few scriptures before about how they were not supposed to be caught up in these ways. Remember, we're a holy nation, a separate nation. The laws and commandments given unto us for us to walk a different path from these other people. But Jake on the same road they on, and that same road to destruction. Oh, the brother got a precept.
This is Jeremiah 51. And I don't think you read Jeremiah 51.
No, I haven't read that.
This is Jeremiah 51 and 6, right? It says, "Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense," right? So you got to flee from Babylon, right? You don't want to be cut off with Babylon, right? Because if you, again, going back to Jake, right? When you drinking of that cup, right? When you want to be like, be like the people of this world, right? You want to be like the Elon Musk, the Jeff Bezos, to LeBron Jameses, the Drakes, so on and so forth, right? The Michael B. Jordan, just all the people who love this nation, who love this this kingdom, right? The people who love it, right? They're going to be cut off, right? They're going to be those 2/3 that are cut off, and they have to die off, right? They have to be brought back through the elect, right? So if you don't want to be a part of that, I mean, it's really only one way to go, right? The next verse continuing on, right? It says, Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad, right? Because that's what's going to happen. That's what has happened to all these nations, because they've all been in bed with that great whore, right? They've all been attached, right? Or like how they say in the world, when the police got you, they always say guilty by association, right? That shit. Yeah, man, oh shit, but probably should have.
I know I got the first one, Isaiah 31. I think that was Proverbs 3 and 31. Learn not the ways of the oppressor.
Gotcha. But I can read them after. But again, right? That's that guilty by association, right? You want to associate with this place, right? You gonna be guilty too, and you gonna have to drink of that same cup, right? That same destruction. But I'll go back to.
I'll read these precepts from brother Assyria fast. Proverbs 3, 31, 32. But this Isaiah 31, verse 1. It says, "Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help." When you understand, it's once again Babylon is the spirit side of Egypt. Esau, on the modern day Egyptians, man. Trump is that cruel lord, right? Trump is that cruel lord. Isaiah 19. That's how the Most High said, "I will come into Egypt again on swift clouds." Well, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, and you see the Lord Yahweh, right? So it says, yet he also is wise and will bring evil and will not call back his word, but will rise against the house of evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity, right? And when you truly understand it too, even back then, the Most High delivered some wicked men from Egypt, right? Back then, when we delivered from Egypt, a lot of those guys were wicked, and the Most High still delivered them. That's why on this time, he's only dealing with his elect, because you have those wicked ones who delivered. They couldn't keep the patience, things as such, right? They trust. A lot of them want to go back into Egypt, right? They be trusting into the ways of this how today they trust into the ways of these people. They look to those people for help, instead of keeping faith and trusting in Yahweh Shai. So guess what? They're going to be destroyed, right? They're going to, those same ways they're going to be mocked and laughed at. You trusted in them. You put your faith in them, right? The whole time they played around in your face, man. Look how Trump treated those people, right? I remember a brother I remember he posted a video of a Mexican lady. She was up there, vote for Trump. Look how he doing the people, man. Look how he doing the people, man. Hey, Jake ain't gonna learn. What the scripture say though. Why you continue to bring that upon yourself? That was 1 verse 5. Why you be strict anymore, man? You revolt more and more, right? Well, this is the other precept he brought out, Proverbs 3, verse 31, right? It says, "Envy not thou the oppressor, and choose none of his ways," man. Choose none of his ways. Get out of the ways, people. Choose none of his ways. But guess what? Jake still choose it, man. Micah 3, right? They take the good for evil and the evil for good, man. You can get back to the.
So this is going back to Jeremiah 49, and I'll start at the top of verse 12, right? It says, "For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken."
So we just showed you they drinking of that cup. What is that cup? That wine, right? Proverbs 20, right? Proverbs 21. Wine is a mocker. Wine, when you understand spiritually, what? The philosophy, the ways, the policies, the lifestyle. Once again, the American dream that America got everybody drunken off of. But Jake wasn't supposed to drink of that cup. Jake wasn't supposed to give into those ways. Jake wasn't supposed to follow in the ways of the nation, of these people. In this case right here, Esau, Edom, right? Jake wasn't supposed to give into those ways. But now Jake drunken. Now Jake drunken, man. Right?
Just a quick precept again, just going into the fact that like it said, who behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. So we wasn't supposed to have to go through that, right? So this is 2nd Ezra 7. I'm actually gonna read it backwards, right? I'm gonna read 13, then I'm gonna read 12, right? It says, for the interests of the elder world were wide and sure and brought immortal fruit, right? The interests of the elder world, right? The way it was supposed to be, how prior to Adam, and Eve, you know what I'm saying, taken up with other nations, right? Prior to that happening, the interest to the kingdom was supposed to be wide and sure, right? It was supposed to be guaranteed, all of the sons of the Most High were going to get into the kingdom. You know what I'm saying?
Paradise. The world was earth was be a paradise to us, man.
Right?
To men.
But verse 12, or now I'm gonna go back up to verse 11. It says, because for their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. Then were the interests of this world made narrow, for the sorrow and travail. They are few and evil, for the perils and very painful, man. So again, it was supposed to be one way, but you know what I'm saying, through the sins and iniquities of Israel, it had to go to it had to be narrow, full of perils. But back to Jeremiah 49 again. I'm gonna start from the top. Verse 12, it says, for thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken.
So like the brother even said, man, we're supposed to be pampered. We're supposed to have it all. We're supposed to have everything. But guess what? Jake loved the flesh. Jake loved the desires and pleasures of the flesh. Right? That's Jake loves the smooth and easy things that's gonna have them feeling good amongst themselves, have them walk around holly jolly, happy, good wealth, good riches, which we're gonna receive all that in the kingdom, as the brothers just read, Ezra 7. We're gonna, we're supposed to have that. Eventually, we're gonna get that still, right? But as the brother also read 2nd Ezra 9, a lot of them got to go through pain and death before we receive it, man. Because those ones don't get it. They're not gonna get it until y'all shall bring destruction upon them, right? But we continue down. We continue reading 12.
It says, and art thou he that shall and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it.
So while we're you go to Revelation 18, I want to verse 6. When you understand it, now read again, it says, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? It's talking about Esau, Edom, right? But thou shalt not go unpunished, thou shalt surely drink of it. Because the cup that Esau put down into the face of the whole world, put out to the face of all the other people, they're gonna have to drink that cup double. They ain't gonna be able to spit it out. They ain't gonna be able to duck from it or run from it, right? They ain't gonna be able to get away from it. They gonna have to drink of that cup. It's gonna be the scriptures tell you it's gonna be a recompense for everything they're doing. It's gonna be a recompense unto them for all the things that they're doing, man. Right?
You want that reward?
That's it right there.
Revelation 18:6, it says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works.
So that cup gonna be double unto them, right? And who was in captivity for how long? They're gonna be captivity double that, right? They're not gonna get away from judgment. They're not gonna get away from it, right?
It says, in the cup which she has filled to her double.
That cup that everybody drinking off of, that she put in front of everybody's face, it's gonna be filled double, man. Right?
Continue. Verse 7, it says, how much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her.
What she say?
For she saith in her heart, I will sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow.
So America, they think that they ain't nothing gonna happen to them. Ultimately, they think that, which they are doing, the Most High's work on the left-hand side. They think the Most High's on their side. They think ain't nothing gonna happen to them, they can't be brought down. They think they can't be brought. They think they're gonna be the last rulers forever. That's why they bringing this technocracy, where they bringing this technology, making everything digital, right? They trying to fight for everlasting life, right? They think can't nobody come against them, right? You see the pride and the arrogancy of them. No, we got the best gun, we got the best. Nah, man, you how about see how I allowed them to build those things? Because you how about see how as the brother bringing out in the lesson earlier, you how about see how he want that war with them. He allowed them to build these things. He allowed them to build all these type of things, right? So you can see when Yahushua come destroy them, and Lord willing, even us, we're gonna be weapons, man. Angels, we're gonna have powers, spiritual powers, things that so we're gonna go out and destroy all the weapons they built and all the things that for World War III. We're gonna destroy all that shit, man. Right? We're gonna be powerless, man. They got a little thing, basically got like a little I just watched the lesson on the brother brought it out. It's basically like a nuclear weapon. It shoot rays for like 48 seconds, right? It shoot nuclear rays, right? And they can dang near split an aircraft. Things are like it can shoot like 18 miles away. Basically like some movie type thing, right? But they done created it. Well, how about seeing outside? He allowed to create these things because the chair is gonna demolish things like that. The angels are gonna demolish things like that. We're gonna demolish things like that, man. We're gonna destroy those things. It ain't gonna be no more armies. It ain't gonna be no more army bases. No more none of that. We're gonna destroy all of it, right? You got appreciate you.
No.
Okay, we can read down to verse 13 in Jeremiah.
It's Jeremiah 49 and verse 13. It says, "For I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord, that Basra shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual wastes."
So you understand, Basra was the capital of Edom, right? So this right here, America, their secret places have been uncovered. So this is the modern day Basra. The scripture not tell you that this place is gonna be left desolate. The scripture not tell you this place is gonna be a wasteland. The only thing that's gonna dwell here is unclean birds, unclean animals, things as such, right? The desert owl, right? Unclean spirits, right? So this place is gonna be desolate. It's gonna be no more habitation here. Everything is gonna be destroyed. Yeah, it might be the land here, whatever. There ain't gonna be no White House. There ain't gonna be no house. All this stuff gonna be destroyed, man. Burnt up, tore up, man. The destruction that's come upon this place is gonna wipe this place out, right? And that's why Yahushua tell you, those who judge will not to drink. Because once again, going back, what is that? 2 Peter 3, the Lord is not slack concerning his promise. He wanted Jake to repent. That's why he sent Yahushua down here, so we not judged by laws and commandments, right? Because we can't keep laws and commandments perfect in these imperfect bodies. So now it's the ones who endure the suffering, endure the pain, endure the hardship. But why Jake want to live with that free liberty? Jake want to run around as if they can do what they want, right? That free will spirit, that fornication that Babylon got them drunken off of, right? So I'll bring out the other precept real fast. You got something?
Well, I was going to read basically like the opposite of what we're supposed to be doing, how it's supposed to be. But I'll say that for.
So I'll read this real fast on Revelation 12 and 10. Right, it says, "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now cometh salvation and strength, the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed, Yahushua. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night." Because Esau put all these iniquity, all these things in front of our face and be like, look, man, look how they living. Look what they doing. They eat pork. Oh, they doing all this. Things that such. Right? They putting all these things in front of our face and trying to, and trying to use it against us. Right? And the precept, I'm gonna read it in NLT, Jeremiah 50 and 7. Right? And this is the same way that when the people was laughing at us, man, right? Is this supposed to be the perfection of beauty? Because we were the perfection of beauty, right? Under King David, right? We were the perfection of beauty, man. King Solomon said, Solomon let the wife turn his heart away, right? Turn away from the Yahushua. We were the perfection of beauty, right? And we're going to get back to that, man, right? The lesson, one of the favorite lessons that Elder Pastor Gabar went into, man, is truth put us back into a ruling class mentality, man. Because we come to the truth, we understand who we really are. Right? Royal priesthood, man. Right? We're going to be put back into that position, and we're going to rule this kingdom in righteousness, man. Right? Not this kingdom. We're going to rule the kingdom of Yahushua in righteousness. This age right here is going to be destroyed. Transition of ages, man. This age going down, and new age of righteousness coming up. But this Jeremiah 50 and 7 in the NLT, right? It says, "All who found them devoured them. Their enemies said, we did nothing wrong in attacking them. For they sinned against their Lord, Yahweh, their true place of rest, the hope of their ancestors," right? So we ain't doing nothing wrong. Look what they doing. Most of they out here eating pork. They out doing all these things. But all these things they putting in front of people's face, man. They doing all these things, right? But they're gonna be cast down. Even the ones who give into their system, they're gonna be brought down with them, man. So,
again, just going into the point, like you were saying, man. Like the people of Israel are supposed to be, you know, what I'm saying they supposed to be a part of that army that Yahweh Shah got, right? And like you said, you know, Lord willing, we be a part of that number. You know, what I'm saying that's what will happen. So, I was just gonna read this again, just going into what's supposed to happen, man. Because we supposed to be on the other side. We're supposed to be destroying this key. We're supposed to be looking forward to again the destruction of Babylon, right?
mm-hmm.
So this is and we all in Jeremiah, but this is Jeremiah 51, and I started 19, right? It says the portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. Right. So that's the side that you're supposed to be on. You're supposed to be on the opposite side. You don't want to be a part of this place when it's getting destroyed, man. You want to be a part of the destroyer, right? Verse 21 it says, and with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider. Right. This is we're talking about Esau Edom here, man. We're gonna break in pieces they armies or whatever technology that they think can compete with Yahweh Shah. Right. It says, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. Right. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman, and with thee will I break in pieces old and young, and with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. Right. And it continues on, right? And I'll skip to verse 24, right? It says, and I will render unto Babylon, which again, Babylon is America, America is Babylon, right? It says, and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea, all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith the Lord, man. So this place is going to be destroyed, right? But you want to be on the right side of it, right? You want to be on the side that you want to be on the side that Yahweh Shah is on, which is that right hand side. But that was that point.
I was really looking for a precept. I can't necessarily think of what it is, but it really kind of going into how basically how, you know, Jake is basically like looked at as the right here it is, Ezekiel 36 verse 3. It says, therefore prophesy and say, this said the Lord Yahweh, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side, that ye might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen. You are taken up in the lips of talkers, nor infamy of the people. Right? I'm gonna go into the definition of these words. Right? You understand, our nation is being like basically mocked and laughed at, man. People like, we're known for, you know, bad things, right? Infamy, the state of being well known for some bad quality or deed, right? But we're supposed to be the righteous. We're supposed to be, you know, once again, perfection of beauty. You know, we're supposed to be that. We're supposed to be those ones who walk in that righteous, man. We're supposed to be setting that standard, which the elect, as we mentioned earlier, we set that standard here today. And that's why Yahweh Shah made it a hard patches now. He made it the way he said it. So when you truly understand it, you truly get it. Because think about it. And everything in this world you do, even, you know, this wicked ass place, right? And everything in this world you do, right? In order to really achieve something, say somebody got dreams, aspirations of being NBA, NFL, or whatever they trying to do, you got to work and grind, and you got to do the suffering behind what come with it to achieve what you want. So when you think about it, we supposed to have everything. But when we messed it up, Yahweh Shah created that narrow path for us to go through those things. And the ones who truly want it, those are the ones who are going to do that suffering, do that pain, do that hardship to get it. You know, because we made ourselves look crazy. We made Yahweh Shah look crazy, man. Right? You got these other people thinking that they can they got a chance to be saved. They got a chance to, you know, come to Yahweh Shah. You know, you got to think they got a chance to really you know, to even be on the same level with us, which they're not. They're beneath us. But Yahweh Shah had to put us through that hardship, and now we're being known as we're the chosen people of Yahweh Shah. That's why we understand that when Yahweh Shah come, He's gonna receive His glory. The Heavenly Father and Yahweh Shah gonna see their glory. then we're going to, the ones who walk in the righteous path, they're going to receive their glory as well. The strength is about salvation. You should not be recognized among the people. But in that time, we're going to be recognized, man. Right? They're going to know who the true Israelites are. Like, dang, but that was right. But you wouldn't think that now. You know how people carry ourselves, man. I bet Jake I thinking he YN, he got to be a killer, shooter, rapper, trap, whatever he lost, right? So reading again says, therefore prophesy and say, this is the Lord Yahweh, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side. You might be possession to the residue of the heathen. You are taken up as the lips of talkers and are an infamy of the people. And infamy means we're known for something bad. We're known for wickedness, man. That's not who we are. We're the righteous, man. We're supposed to walk that righteous path, the righteous way. You know what I'm saying? I read it in NLT, brother ain't got none, And it's crazy when you look at our people, man. Look at Judah. Judah is the head tribe. That's why I said the head is sword. Judah's the head tribe, And look how our people run around, right? The so-called black people. They're especially the black women, the most they're the worst off ones, man. Jake out here wilding, shooting, killing, all the type of thing. You got a precept, you gotta break it out.
Just going into like you were saying, how what we supposed to be looking forward to, man. This is 2 Corinthians 4 and I just straight to the point. Verse 14 says, knowing that he which raised up the Lord Yahushua shall raise up us also by Yahushua, and shall be present with and shall present us with you. For all things are for your sakes, that the abundant grace might through the thanksgiving of many redound to the glory of the Most High, man. So again, we the same way, Yahushua, made it through. You know what I'm saying? We supposed to do the same thing. We supposed to we supposed to be able to be raised up and be that holy. You know what I'm saying? And basically, just go through all that endurance at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And it's as simple as that, right? We're not supposed to be. Again, you're not supposed to be a word with the affairs of this life, because like Paul said, no man that wareth, you know what I'm saying, is entangled with the affairs of this life, if I'm paraphrasing, man. So that's just that point.
This is Ezekiel 36 and 3 in NLT. It says, therefore, son of man, give the mountains of Israel this message of the sovereign Lord Yahweh. Your enemies have attacked you from all directions, making you the property of many nations, and the object of much mocking and slander, man. So they mocking and slandering our people, right? Because look how Jake run around carrying himself, right? But Lord willing, right? The elect, they're setting their standard and showing them the true ways of our people, the true ways of Yahweh Shah. Mentioned again, we set that standard today, which that standard is going to be enforced in the kingdom. Today you have how the world follow the policies and ways of America, what they put out. In the kingdom, they're going to follow the laws and ways of Israel, man. And they're going to be no more mocking or slandering. They're going to realize, like, those are the chosen people. Those are the true Jews of Yahweh Shah. Those are the righteous people. We're going to get back to that perfection of beauty. All right, but.
And again, that goes all the way back to how you said, we're supposed to be separate, right? We're supposed to be, like you said, his precious jewels, right? Like, Deuteronomy 7 and 6, there are holy people until Yahweh Shah, right? The scriptures say we're a peculiar people, right? We're separate. We're supposed to be different. So, we've been Israel over time has swooped down so low, like you said. All the nations are looking at us, they making a mockery of us, because like these are supposed to be, the people of Yahweh Shah, but we, through the scriptures we know, and I can't remember that verse because it is a verse that talk about how like they'll look at us and they'll look at us and basically like reference us and say like these like surely these are the people of Yahweh Shah. I can't remember exactly how it went.
You ever think of how it goes? Just sound like that. Trying to think as well.
But again, we're supposed to be separate, man. We're supposed to be the head and not the tail, right? It talks about that again. I'm pretty sure it's in the book of Deuteronomy, man. Because when you go into the curses, right, the Lord told us what was going to happen, right? He said, if you do these things, this is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But so on and so forth. But
this also made me think of Psalm 73 as well, man. How Jake don't understand that we're under curses, man. That's one of the things Jake don't get as well. You know, they out here trying to build a life. You know, the brother Yasiel said this camp one day. You know, Jake trying to be better at being an Edomite than the Edomites. They want to be rich. They want to do all these things because why? Right? This is Psalm 73, right? It's starting at verse 3. It says, "For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked." So they seeing how good Esau had it. They seeing how and you hear Jake conversation. Yeah, man. If them folks get it, we can do it too. Oh, I'm trying to build. If you talk to a Jake, you just hear him. Yeah, I'm trying to build generation wealth for my family, or my kids will never have to work. Where do you think they get that from? Where do you think that mindset come from? It come from them seeing Esau, Edom have it good like that, right? But they don't understand, as it says, right? Verse 3 again, for I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked, right? It says, for there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men, right? So you understand that we're under the curses. We wasn't sitting here to have no good life. We wasn't sitting here for us to be living lavish, right? The world's made for our sakes, but this world was given to the hands of the wicked, right? So they can, fulfill the left-hand side of the of what how about y'all said to be done. And of course, with us, they went overboard. Zechariah 1:15. They did too much. Isaiah 47, verse 6, they showed no mercy, right? So the Most High is going to punish them and bring a recompense upon them, right? He did that because he know who they are, and the wicked is going to be destroyed right away. You know, this world is Most High rules in the kings of men. He set up over whomsoever, right? He put them in charge for a reason. You know, as I was the other day, I was mentioning, you know, you get a landscaper to cut your grass. You know, you get a how you want to put it. You know, you get a thief to steal. You get a killer to go kill somebody, right? So what you think he's gonna do? Esau Edom is the wicked. You get the wicked to do wickedness. That's what he do. He got the wicked to do what he has set to be fulfilled, right on the left hand side. They doing that. You got the spiritual demon of doubt, Satan. And you got the physical sons and daughters of Satan, which is Esau Edom, which they're going to be cast down. They're going to be destroyed. Going to be wiped off the face of the earth, man. Right? But Jake was never supposed to fall and give in to those ways. We're supposed to endure the suffering, do the hardship, you know, and keep that patience until we're delivered from this place, right? But Jake couldn't do that. Just like back then, Jake couldn't do it. Jake couldn't do it now. So, hey, you know, the ones who keeping that patience, the ones who striving and pushing, who understand the objective of Yahweh Shah, you know, who give him honor and glory, the first oracles, as the scripture mentioned, right? They're going to be saved and delivered, man. He that endure to the end shall be saved, right? You know, we got to close the prayer. We got to precept.
I was really just gonna go into the fact that, you know, like you saying, man, it was never supposed to happen that way, but you know, the Lord Yahweh Shah left to himself a remnant. You know what I'm saying? Those who are going to, you know, take heed to His word. Those who are going to listen, which that remnant would just so happen to be the elect, right? Because the elect, you know what I'm saying, they're not gonna be deceived by the ways of this world, right? And that deceive really goes into many things, right? That can go into the different doctrines, right? That's gonna go into, you know, the MOTB. That can go into, you know, a lot of different things. So you're not gonna be deceived by the cars, clothes, and money that you see. You know what I'm saying, throughout the world. You're not gonna be deceived, as in like your mind not gonna be 100% like focused on these things, right? You're not gonna be deceived that that's the way to go, right? You can be like, we know that's not the way to go. Like I always tell people, because people always, you know how people ask questions like, like, how much would it take you to do this? Is that would you do this for $1 million? And I always tell them like, no, because money ain't everything, you know. But that's just goes a part of that goes along with being not deceived by, you know, the ways of this world, right? But kind of, yeah, like I said, the remnant. I was trying to find
Isaiah or Romans?
I think it was in
Isaiah 10:20.
Is it 10?
The remnant shall be, even though Israel is the sand of the sea, only a remnant.
This is so I'll read it. This is Isaiah 10, and I started 20. It says, "And it shall come to pass in that day, that the remnant of Israel, and such as are escaping the house of Jacob, shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, in truth." Right? The remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty power. For though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption decree shall overflow with righteousness, man. So yeah, Israel is the same as sea, but it's a remnant, right? It's an elect. It's a specific amount of people that the Lord chose to to in this world, in this life, right, receive the knowledge and the understanding and the wisdom of of him, because like the scriptures say, surely he will do nothing but reveal his secrets to the prophets, paraphrasing. So that's that remnant, man. That's that people that you want to be a part of. So like the elders say, if you know that to be true, why would you not want to follow anybody but the prophets? Why would you want to be in the world? It don't make sense.
And that's kind of how it hit me a lot as well. I mentioned before a couple lessons and whatnot. Not to make no testimony, but coming from college sports, that's a big thing of this world, right? That's how it hit me a lot. I've talked to the brothers a lot about as well. When you understand this knowledge, understanding, how the place is gonna be destroyed, things that you don't want to be caught up in the affairs of this place. You want to seek the truth as much as you can. Desire that sensitive milk to grow into that spiritual man. And that's part of the suffering, the part of the hardship. The suffering ain't just always getting shot at or things. No, that suffering is purging out those inner demons, purging out that flesh, that desire of your own will to focus on the will of the Father, man. Dreams out the window and understand your purpose. Brother, see your calling. That's Paul said in 1 Corinthians chapter 1.
But this is a closing preview.
Okay, you got it.
So this is Micah 2:10, short but to the point, right? Micah 2:10, arise ye and depart, right? Because like you said, going into the title, have assuredly drunken, right? You do not want to be a part of that, right? So how do you not be a part of it? How do you not drink of that same wine that Babylon will drink of, right? You gotta depart, right? It said so again from the top, verse 10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with the sword destruction, man. And that goes to the point, like I said, that's that being guilty by association, because Babylon is polluted. What's it gonna do? It's gonna drag you down with it. That's that crab in the bucket metaphor, right? They're gonna pull you. America gonna pull you down with it, right? But
We're gonna understand it. Not harking on too long. I got to close the picture as well. But the melting pot, man. What they say, the melting pot. What they say, Ezekiel 37 say the knowledge of understanding, that breath, which is knowledge of understanding. It brought the bones and life together. It brought flesh upon the bone, brought them together and brought flesh upon it. But that melting pot, it talks about in Micah chapter 3, is tearing the bones apart, tearing the flesh off of it. That's what America is. It tear the people up. It brings them into the philosophies, ways of the world, and it makes people unfocused. Right, so when they hear the truth, it ain't of the norm. So Jake don't want to hear it. It seemed weird. It seemed odd. It ain't nothing that everybody else caught up in, so they don't want to do it. We understand this ain't for everybody, man. Right. But this is Isaiah 13 and verse 15. Right? It says, everyone that is found shall be thrust through. Everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Right? So everyone that's following the ways of Esau, Edom, and this place, America, Babylon, Babylon, spiritual Sodom, and Egypt, they're going to be destroyed as well. But they're going to fall by the sword as well. Because remember, how I say, I ain't come to bring peace on earth. I come with a sword, man. Right? So, hey, you're either going to get in or you're going to get destroyed. It's no if it's a but. It ain't of your choice. The pray to you, how shot it. That spirit comes upon you to allow you to understand, and being brought in. Other than that, hey, you remain in the congregation of the dead. So that being said, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying and exalting, right? We want to close out, give it all honor and glory to
Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shah by Hashem Rakakadash.
Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shout out to the whole elect, the 144,000. Shalom.
Shalom.